But what you have mentioned just now, that 1954, Nehru told our diplomats in Peking who were going to sign the Panchsheel that if they raise, this was quoted by Claude RP without giving any source. He had no source, he just mentions like that. So, Claude RP has a lot of ideas. He comes from he's a French actually, lives in India and Pondicherry. A good scholar, but I doubt his perspective. The Nehru's, you may call him blunder or whatever you may say, but initially he took the hard line. The only problem with Nehru was that he trusted the Chinese. The Chinese will never attack. Possibly somebody has misled him. I am told that he has been convinced by some people that Chinese are not going to attack or occupy Aksai Chin. So we all remain sleeping all the time. But it is only in 1959 he had a second thought. After the letter he got from Zhou Enlai, he became very aggressive. He told the Minister of External Affairs, throw away all the old maps and reclaim the entire thing up to Kunlun Range. Well, that's a different history. I'll come on that issue a little later. Now he is a Ladakhi. There are a lot of Ladakhis sitting here. I'm a Ladakhi. Little Punjabis, but I'm a Ladakhi. I can speak good Punjabi and Hindi. Our feature shows that we are not purely Chinese or Tibetan looking. We are not even a Kashmiri looking type. We have in our north the Uyghur people, not very far away from here. We are not even like Uyghur. We're a mixture of a lot of ethnicity, race, languages. So I would say Ladakh and Baltistan, more Baltistan, less Ladakh, was the center of peripheries. It's not just periphery of one particular civilization or a culture. It's a periphery of a lot of other cultures and civilization. So it's the center of peripheries of. So that's very important. But again, of course, we have to look into through the historical context that sometimes we were under the Tang Empire of China, sometimes we were under the Tibetan Empire, and sometimes we were attacked by the Arabs, Turks, Kashmiris, not Mughals, but Kashmiris, yes, did have some presence here. So we became like what we are. So you must understand that Ladakhis have their own identity. The identity comes from a melting pot process. It's a melting pot. You can't really say that this is this. That's why we are going through a lot of problems right now. We had a leader called Kushok Bakula. After his death, we became directionless. Everyone is playing game with us. Everybody wants to change our identity. Till he was alive, he was like a strong man. He was not a modern educated person. He was a shrewd politician. Had good relationship with the Indian state and the Kashmir government and the others. Maintain the dignity and the identity. Whatever we are not purely Kashmiri, as I said, or a Tibetan. So we are pure Ladakhi. Now, if you go to Leh, at the petrol pump, say around 11 kilometers from here, in 2016, there was a king who was a mixture of Baltistan, Skardu, and Ladakh. The mother was from Skardu, the ruler of Skardu's daughter. The father was a Ladakhi king called Jamyang Namgyal. So there was a child born out of these two Gilgiti, Skardu mother and the Ladakhi father. His name is called Singye Namgyal. Now, today, whatever we are, the territory of Ladakh as a part of India, uh, from Nepal, what do you say, Kalapani, or entire Kailash Mansarovar, Ladakh proper, up to Gilgit Baltistan, this used to be part of Ladakh, the Great Ladakh, the Greater Ladakh. So, we've lost many of our territories here and there, but when we talk about Baltistan and Gilgit and all that thing, Skardu, you find that is the epicenter of this melting pot. Actually, everybody came to Baltistan. Not so much at Ladakh, but Baltistan was the real melting pot. And, our language there in Skardu is more classical than what we speak in Leh. Here we speak phonetic Ladakhi. But in Skardu, it's a pure Ladakhi. Say, I tell you one word. There is we call rice as das. Now it is spelled like Barasa, BRS. So if you go to Skardu, they will say Bras. So when it comes to Ladakh, it's called Das. So R is silent, B is permanent, S is also permanent. So the silent part R is missing. So it's become like it's a English, a British English and the American English. It's that kind of but the purity is there more. But because of the history, they got Islamized sometime in the 9th century when the Arabs came. And Chinese were defeated in Gilgit. And after the Chinese, the Tibetan went to Gilgit. Tibetans also lost not because of the power, but they got defeated elsewhere in China from other, so they retracted. So that is where I think the whole issue lies. But we don't have to speak too much about Tang dynasty or the Tibetan Empire or the Arab conquest. All these things are, what we have to see is the Indian part of Gilgit-Baltistan. What are those elements in Gilgit-Baltistan which are Indic in nature? The first Indic nature was Hinduism and Buddhism, more Buddhism, reached there during the Ashoka period itself, in the 2nd century. That was because the Gilgit, you find the biggest Ashoka's thumb in Gilgit, in the middle of the city. Now it's been taken to Lahore Museum. And from Gilgit, Ashoka's Buddhism spread into Central Asia, up to Khotan, Yarkand, Kashgar, or anywhere. And partly even Ladakh got influenced by the Ashokan Buddhism, and then followed by Kushan Buddhism. But the Indian state doesn't care about the Indian elements of the history of, India's own history. No historian writes about it. Then the other aspect is that even during the Chinese and the Tibetan and the Arab dominance in this area, there were Hindu kings, the Buddhist kings. I have one name, Nava Surendra, a Nandin dynasty. There are a couple of kings in the Nandin dynasty around 6th, 7th century who actually established a lot of, if you go to those Danyor rocks, you find all these inscriptions about, including Jayamangala, Vikramaditya's, these are, then maybe Lalitaditya history and all those things there. But these are all forgotten part of our history, but nobody talks about it. That's the sad part of it. So any researcher who wants to study Gilgit-Baltistan has to go back to Ashoka and Kanishka. And then you go to the Lalitaditya period and the Nandin dynasty. Rest is not relevant for our needs. They may be there, there's Tang dynasty or Arab history, but these are not relevant for us. You can write in the footnote if you want to write Okay, the Arabs also came and something. But the permanent part is that we have to now see everything from the Indo-centric. I won't say now the fashionable word is Indic world. Indic is a acceptable word now. It it is an old name, but it's become more prominent in the last 1 year because I look at the Eurasian world. Now I can't say Buddhism went there or Hinduism went there. I only say Indic influence, which includes Bharatnatyam to Kathakali to Tantra to everything, meditation. So it's very important that these phrases are now we need to recoin all these things according to our requirement. The Buddhism is a reference part of Indian history in this region that has been overlooked or maybe even undermined. If you go to the western part of Ladakh, it's pure India more than Punjab, more than even Haryana. Okay, Kurukshetra and all those things are the prehistoric thing, but real historical record part is in Ladakh. Go to Nubra Valley, go to Zanskar Valley, go to Kargil area, to Daras. These are important part of the thing. That is now the importance of Gilgit-Baltistan, which he wanted me to speak, but actually wanted to speak tomorrow. I was to chair a session today, incidentally. Is that a European Union parliamentarian or a note taker wrote about POK in 2004 or 2005, no, after 2007. 2007 called Emma Nicholson. She described POK, Gilgit-Baltistan, as a black hole. Now, I won't say more than that. They have studied the political, social, economic conditions in Gilgit-Baltistan. It's a black hole. Nothing exists there. No law, no constitution, no legality. The people are just, maybe in Africa, maybe in some corner, such places are there. But Gilgit-Baltistan, even in the 21st century, it's a left out, just a ignored area. This fact was confirmed in 2005 again when the NATO troops came into POK. There was a huge earthquake in Kashmir also, in our part of Kashmir also, on their part of Kashmir. For rescue operation, the NATO troops came from Afghanistan. Remember those days, Afghanistan was occupied by not Taliban, but the Mujahideen period. So when the NATO troops came, we became very alert. But fortunately, they went back after the rescue operation. But they collected a lot of facts. Once a NATO force come to an area, they photograph everything, they record. So I think I've read those days in the Russian literature what the NATO troops have found in the POK area. Till then, I think we had no information. We were ignorant about what was happening in that place. Now, the strategic part of the POK is that if NATO troops came to Gilgit-Baltistan in 2005, they can again come anytime. 2, the Chinese troops have, not just in POK, there are a lot of Chinese bases in POK now, but very close to the Gilgit-Baltistan area in the Wakhan corridors. There's a place called Shamyak in Tajikistan where the Chinese have now troops stationed since 2016. It's very close to our border, which we brought out on November 2, 2019, the new map of Jammu and Kashmir and the UT Ladakh. Yesterday, I was not here, but the 14 Corps commander is supposed to control right up to Wakhan corridor. The governor is in charge of the territory right up to Afghan border, theoretically. We don't have control. I'm sure one day the governor sitting in Leh will control up to Wakhan, up to Gilgit-Baltistan. He was the Corps commander. That's very important. If you're forward-looking, if you have a perspective. I told Governor Mathur, you are not a governor of Leh alone. You are a governor of Skardu, Baltistan, up to Gilgit. He says, tell me more about it. I said, the map is in front of you. That's your territory, your jurisdiction. So, anyway, that's another matter. The Russians have a troop, 201. Yes, it's very close to Dushanbe, still located there, not very far from Gilgit, just 100 kilometers. We have a military base in Tajikistan called Aini. So you can understand militarily and strategically how important is Gilgit-Baltistan. I don't have to elaborate, just the military base. Now, very close to, again, Gilgit, there is a Tashkurgan airport has come up. I think last year they were doing the termite, but Tashkurgan airport is going to control right up to Leh. There are other airports close by, the Chinese airports, 6, 7 airports around Leh, but Tashkurgan, I've been to Tashkurgan, very close to Kashgar. A lot of Kyrgyz and Tajik people, less Uyghur. There are very few Uyghurs in Tashkurgan. So Tashkurgan again is located very at the border of POK. So that's the importance of Gilgit-Baltistan. And since we claim it's ours, but since we do not have control, we have to think seriously. And deliberation like this will give little bit ideas how we can proceed forward. We don't have an answer right now, what can be done. But to sensitize the subject, these things are very important. The economic significance of this area is that read any Pakistani military paper, our Rawalpindi doctrine or military or white papers, or any ISI academic papers or research paper. The importance of Gilgit-Baltistan is not for the love of the people there. They don't care for Baltis and the Gilgitis or all these Pamiris and these people. It's only for the water. Without Gilgit-Baltistan, Pakistan has no water. Dry, absolutely like Registan, desert, like Karachi. Entire Punjab and part of Sindh, even NWFP, get water either from north, from the Gilgit-Baltistan area, a little bit from Kabul river, and rest, not a drop of water from Indus is beneficial to us. 100% water of what you see next to you, 1 kilometer from here, flows to the Punjab plains of Pakistan. We haven't thought about it. A lot of people are thinking about it, but Gilgit-Baltistan is the water tank for Pakistan. That's why, come what may, at least we control Siachen Glacier. That itself is 33,000 square meter glacier, surface. It's a huge water tank, and it all goes to Pakistan. So that is again the economic dimension. I'm not talking about minerals. I'm not talking about other issues. Just pure water. And the next century, we are going to fight for water. Water is in shortage. You see in Delhi or anywhere, even in the Punjab plains, the water tables are now shrinking. So that's again important. Now, what has happened in the last 3 years after becoming UT? One is the November 2nd map, which everybody must keep in your room and look at again and again. Keep yourself aware about the map. The history is okay. History can remain in the books or archives or somewhere. That's okay, but the reality is in the future is in the map. What UT of Ladakh has done is that we have a new road now, which we never liked before. I actually never appreciated the construction of this new road from Hanu to Turtuk. This road is called Hanutang Handanbrook, then Zungpal Turtuk Road. It's a green road. It's the first joint venture between the military and the civilian government. A memorandum of understanding was signed last year between the governor and the Border Road Director General in Delhi, where at Turtuk, which we captured in 1971, 3 villages we captured. Now, significance was that this MOU between the BRO and the UT Ladakh was signed in Turtuk. Now, personally, I would not like this road to come up from Hanu, which is this Aryan land, which she talked about, and directly going up to the Nubra Valley and Siachen base. Right now, everybody has to go through Khardungla. People have breathing problem. Going to Nubra Valley is not so easy. So you have to come to Leh and then cross Khardungla, and through the Shayok Valley you go towards Turtuk. But if you want to study, somebody said we don't get first-hand material, original material. But part of Skardu is with us. You have the possibility now to visit the most western part of Ladakh. In Turtuk sector, you can go to Batalik. Chorbatla should be in the history of India. At Chorbatla, we fought many, many wars. That Chorbatla is not even in the encyclopedia. It's there in the British encyclopedia, in the Gazette of Ladakh. But not many historians and political scientists know about Chorbatla. We ourselves fought a lot of wars at Chorbatla between the Ladakhis and the Baltis. It used to be more between Buddhist, Muslim sort of, conflict kind of thing. So Chorbatla has to be studied now that the roads are available. Siksa is a village. It's a winter village. For a lot of other villages, they come to Siksa. And the famous, the polo match, horse polo, was actually played there, and the British got it to the rest of the country, or Delhi or Jaipur, wherever now is being played. So Siksa, we also play in Leh, but Siksa is famous for polo matches. Then there is Sukmo, there is Chor. These are areas that scholars now have to study. If you are thinking ahead for Skardu, you can't go to Skardu directly. These are the route, these are arteries for getting into the Baltistan area. The other area is that, there is a north of Siachen and Karakoram sector, there is a small, it's a part of Shkakam Valley, but it's called Teremsher. Teremsher, maybe some 5,000 square kilometer or even less than that, can be captured by Indian Army within, say, 2 hours. Within 2 hours, Indian Army can capture Teremsher, which can be linked with what the Chinese are doing in eastern Ladakh. Well, these are new ideas which can be discovered. These are operational issues. I will not talk about it. Thank you.